Good morning. It's a quiet Sunday morning here in Colorado. It finally made it up to 20 degrees and it's only 9:19 a.m. So excited. 20 whole degrees. I'm kind of excited today. There's a lot going on. And the first thing is I finished all of the ornaments here. And so we're going to do the giveaway for the Verbaco kits. And like I said before, these are supposed to be cards. Let's see how they're made into cards. Well, I didn't do that because I have to be different. I also figured out all the DMC numbers and wrote them on the floss cards. I don't know if you can see that. You can see, yeah, you can see it on there. There's so much floss that comes with these kits that you could probably do the entire set with the floss that's in here still, if you wanted to try, or not. So, for down below, for your comment for the giveaway, if you want to participate, please put down in the comment below, Gnomes and Santas will be next year. Pretty simple, right? Gnomes and Santas. Because there's some really cute Verbaco kits that have Gnomes and Santas that I'm going to do for next year. I don't have the patterns yet, but I will, and when I do, I'll be sure to share that haul with you. I haven't had a haul in a long time. I'm just working with what I have, which is interesting to me because normally it's Gnomes and Santas will be next year, and you'll get both the kits. Da, 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 da. And now I get to show you how the ornaments turned out. Oh, let's look in the the tome. The tome says my next Floss Tube video will be, when will it be? If I looked on the month. Aha! January 13th, and that's when I'll draw the winners. So you have 2 weeks to watch the video and leave your comment below for that. And you know, I always stuff other things in there unless I just want to get it out right now, you know, because I do have a tendency to forget. Like, I'll put it in the box or the envelope that it's going to be mailed in, and I set it down and walk away, and whoop, it's no longer in here in the outer space that is my brain. Or inner space. Seriously sci-fi there. So January 13th, that's when you'll figure out who's gonna win those 2 little kits. And now let's show you. Oh, I need my book for in a minute. It has so much knowledge. So here's the first one. Yes. And yes, my corners are stuffed and nice and stuffed. And I used some sparkly Christmas fabric for the back because the colors kind of matched, you know, just a little bit. And they came out super tiny. You can see how teeny they are. And that's because I used 18 count Ada for this. And here's the second one. And I did make this fabulous cording with my Krynic cord maker. Fantastic. I used yarn to make this, actually. You know those little tiny balls of yarn that you can get in a 6-pack, I think, at Joann's. It was all sparkly, so I had to have it. And it's been in my stash for 2 years, and I never knew what to do with it. And then the other day, when I was finishing up my ornaments, I was thinking, I've got some yarn in there, and that's, to me, much better than using a bunch of floss that could be used for stitching instead. So here's this one. Isn't that cute? And every single ornament has beads. Every single one. I made sure of it so you can see the beads there. They give it almost a 3D texture. So you have the metallic thread in the background, then you have the stitching, and oh, you can kind of see the metallic on there, and then of course the beads. So that's 3. Then here's the second kit. These ones came out a little bit bigger, but that's okay. A little bit bigger. Same thing with the cording. It's all fuzzy now. I keep playing with them. And you know, this one right here, I didn't know if I was going to like the pattern, but it turned out to be really cute. This one, though, only has 2 beads. So there's one on that snowflake and one on that one. But yeah, this is a cute little deer right here. So I like that. I was actually really pleased with it when I finished it because, you know, the pictures on the packages, they look cute, but when I finished stitching them, I was like, well, obviously my stitching is much better, as is all of yours out there. And then here is the last one. And I didn't do the beads on this one the way I normally do beads. So let's compare. So here are the beads on here. And this is a cross-stitched on beads. So, you know, you go in and over and then, and it keeps them straight and really neat. This one I didn't because these were supposed to be French knots, so I left it all kind of wonky looking, and because that's how it would have looked with the French knots. So those are my ornament finishes, and I don't have any other finishes, which is weird. So put these all over here so I can play with them some more. Gnomes and Santas will be next year. Now for today. So exciting. Oh my gosh. You know what today is, right? Today started the New Year's Eve stitch along, where you get a piece of the pattern every 4 hours. I did get up at 3:45 this morning, and with one eye open, I started it and just finished the part 3 about half an hour ago. But here's where we're at right now. Dun dun dun. Now, if you're not participating in the New Year's Eve stitch along, here's how it works. Every 4 hours you get a new piece of the pattern, and you know, I'm very eager. Last New Year's Eve was awesome. And so far, either nobody's awake doing it or people are busy because it is Sunday. It's not technically New Year's Eve until tomorrow, but who cares? It's going to be in 15 parts. So 2, 4, 6, so 60 hours worth of waiting for the next section, but you have 4 hours in between. So, you know, you take that 35 or 40 minutes to stitch the next part, and then you've got time to stitch something else, go feed your family, go run to the store, go do whatever you got to do, and then hurry back because the next piece is coming out. So far, so good. I'm using turquoise, and I'm not sure how I feel about the darker turquoise. I like the electric blue kind of turquoise, which were the colors I wanted, but DMC doesn't have 4 of the bright turquoise. It has 3, but 2 of the colors are a slight shade apart, so I couldn't use the third one. So I got the other turquoise and used a light and dark from that. So it'll work out. It'll be fine. And then the other thing that I started yesterday, actually, and this is as far as I got. Ta-da! Isn't that lovely? So, last year it was Weaver's Band Tapestry Stitch Along, and so many people were part of that. And the end result was gorgeous. There were so many different versions of that final piece that it was hard to decide which one was the best, you know. Can't decide. Why would I decide? So this year I thought, you know what, I'll participate in that. I'll see how it goes. And so the first pattern that Galdress de Fear gives out is the border, and that's what I've been working on here. And I'm using all Jody Floss for this as well. So I'm using, what are these two colors? Okay, so the line stitching here, that is December 2018 limited edition, a carnelian quartz. Say that 3 times really fast. Carnelian quartz. Cornelius. Anyway, Fifth Element. And then these guys in here, okay, so for those of you who are actually doing this too, you're probably wondering why I didn't put the center stitch here or the connecting stitch here. And if you've been watching me since I started, or even for the past year, you'll know I can't resist putting beads in things. So the middle part and the connecting stitch, those are going to be beads. It's going to be lovely. I'm not going any halfway. And then, of course, my grime guards, I made these yesterday because I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh, this is a year-long project, and I don't want it to get gross, so I had to make some grime guards real fast. Super cute. I love this fabric. It's really old. I found it 3 or 4, no, it's probably longer than that. I mean, let me think. I don't even remember. It's probably, it has to be 15 years ago. But I found it in a thrift store, and there were, I think, 15 yards of it. No, not that much. Maybe 10. But I have a lot of this fabric, and it smells like my grandma's linen closet. You know, when you have a linen that's, you know, older than I am, sitting in the linen closet, it's been washed so many times, and it's super soft, and that's what it feels like, and that's what it smells like. I shouldn't put my nose on it, really. So gross. Anyway, there's that. I'm going to give you a close-up here so you can ogle it up close. And that's as far as I've gotten on that. And, oh, so the inside, these guys right here, this floss is called, it is the November 2018 limited edition Firelight. And when I got this floss a couple weeks ago, Yeah, November. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. I looked at it and I thought, that's gorgeous. I need to use that right now. And so I am. And I love the coral colors. You know, I'm not such a big fan of the pink, but it's not like an obnoxious pink, and there's enough orange in there to offset it for me. And the yellow, of course, is always a good decision. So I thought, why not? And then let's see, what else is going on? You know, most people want to do like the year-end recap. I'm not going to do that. And you know what's funny? I don't even have plans for next year. I mean, yes, I have written down in my book of the tome, the great tome of knowledge, all the things that are happening throughout the year. I won't be putting Wapocalypse in here or Tusel yet because those dates haven't been posted. Wait, Melissa might have posted the dates for next year already because she did post on the Facebook group. Okay, so I'll have to put that in here, but let's see. So Tuesday, which is New Year's Day, we'll see the first chunk of the Weaver's bird sow, which is what this is. So, and I'm going to use all Jody Refloss for this entire thing because I don't use it enough, and I have a ton of it. I have a little suitcase full of it. I don't know what I was thinking, you know, like, yes, it's really pretty floss, but what am I ever going to use it for? Well, here we go, you know. And I know as I go along and I continue receiving the floss in the mail because it's a different batch every month, I should be able to keep the bird stitch along interesting, I think. And then, let's see, Tuesday the 8th is the start of the Mamluk stitch along, and that one is historical because the pattern is based on a piece of fabric from the Mamluk era. So think, if you know anything about history, think of the Ottomans. And we're talking, you know, the Persian area, you know. So Mamluks were actually soldiers. Let me get this right for you because I know I know in my mind I know the history, but when I try and put it into the words, I don't have good words. So Mamluks were slaves essentially that were, I guess, in more modern times you could say they were pressed into service, but they ended up being more feared than Spartans, you know, because you know how the Spartans were, you know, really good at creating good soldiers. Well, Mamluks were pretty darn nifty. And sometimes they rose in power and sometimes they didn't, but they were always feared regardless. And during that period, this piece of tapestry was stitched by someone. And I wonder though, the person that stitched that, if they saw what we were about to do with their the scrap of their needlepoint from, you know, 1500 years ago, would they be blown away? Or would they be offended because we're all doing it now? Why are you copying me? You know? I remember back in the day, and we're talking, oh gosh, 30 years ago, you know, when if you met other stitchers, you know, because it was a solitary thing back then before the internet exploded and we found each other. But think of it back then, you know, you're by yourself and you want to stitch a pattern, but you find out somebody else is stitching it. You don't want to have the same thing. And that was the mentality for a long time. And now it's like, it doesn't matter who stitches that pattern because you're going to make it your way. You have a different stitching style, you use different fabric, you use different flosses. It may be the same pattern, but it's going to come out completely different regardless. And I like to see three or five people with the same tools, like the same fabric, the same flosses, you know, the same needles, all that stuff, and the same pattern, and they all stitch it. It's not all going to look the same. You're going to see a definite difference because you can't make them stitch it in the same style because everybody has their own way. You know what I mean? It's like different photographers taking a picture of the same thing at the same time, but it's still going to look different. And they could be using the same exact camera with the same settings. It's still going to look different because you've got two different perspectives, if that makes sense. So anyway, I don't even know why I went on that. So the Mamluk cell, I don't remember. I have to look now to see if there's a border for that one, but I don't think there is. But that one starts on January 8th. There's also a black work stitch along that starts on the 22nd. And I'm going to link you to Galdris DeFeer's blog, which is Magical Quilts and More, down below, because that's where everything's at. And sorry, everyone's talking while I'm trying to they know I'm doing this. So all you're going to hear is doom, 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 doom. So anyway, there's the Weaver's Bird Stitch Along, Mamluk Stitch Along, Blackwork Stitch Along, Ornament of the Month, Neglected Floss is now being made available for the public. The 50 by 50 pattern on the second Friday of every month, and the 25 by 25 pattern made on the third Friday of every month on the same blog. But on the sidebar on the right hand side, when you go to the blog, you'll see, you know, the dates for everything, and then, you know, it'll all be linked up and everything, so you can do that if you want to. And I guess I could show you this. I started doing and don't freak out, because I'm one of well, I'm actually the creator of Neglected Floss, but Galdris DeFeer is the creator of all the patterns. So I get the pattern early so that I could do a model stitch, and I don't think this is going to give anything away, just like it has not in the past, but this is going to be the January Neglected Floss pattern, as you can see. But for 2019, Neglected Floss is going to have many different shapes and sizes, and this one actually is pretty square, but I can tell you by March there won't be any more square. It's going to be awesome. And then for the Ornament of the Month, I'm going to leave you guessing on this one right here. I am using, I have a different name for it, but this is actually, let me put this behind here so you can see how pretty the fabric is. Look at that. This is called the December 2017 limited edition mulled wine. And even though it comes as a limited edition, you can still message Michelle of Jody Reeve Fabrics and Floss to see if she has any more of this pretty fabric. It looks like hot chocolate to me, which, by the way, is what I'm drinking. It's a little cold now. I have cold chocolate. But that's what this looks like to me. And it's really pretty, and I have a pretty floss color picked out for the pattern. And there's that. What else is happening here? There's so much stuff, it just hasn't started. I just read this morning that Apocalypse, there's like a pre-post, which is January 6th. Yeah, that'll be a Sunday. So there's like a pre-thing, and then all the rest of the Apocalypse dates will be in order and just like they normally are. But yeah. And I haven't even looked for Tussle yet. She probably hasn't posted hers, but gosh. I think that's it for today. Kind of exciting, but not all at the same time. Now, if you're not participating in any of these stitch-alongs, that's fine. I'll just be showing you what I'm doing. And I'm going to continue. Oh, that's the other thing. First Wednesday of every month is Finish It 2019. So if you're working on something and you want to finish it, you'll be able to post that in the... Okay, so the Weaver's Band Tapestry Cell Facebook group, the name just changed to Magical Mystery Stitch Along. No, wait, Magical's, what is it? I'm going to look. Magical Mystery Cell. No. Magical Cells. It's just Magical Cells. Okay, on Facebook. So if you aren't a member of that group, run over there and become a member so you can do this too if you want. And then the New Year's Eve Mystery Cell is, what is that one called? And this is where people get confused because there's Magical Mystery Cell and Magical Cell. So there's a difference between the two. So Magical Mystery Cell, this is this one that we're doing right here. This, where you get a piece of the pattern every few hours and you stitch along with it. And she totally missed Halloween this year. It was kind of a crazy busy time, and but hopefully next year she has it set up and ready to go for the holidays, because some people don't do things on holidays, so you know, stuff. So I think that's it. I'll put the link down below to the blog and the Facebook groups and stuff like that. And Gnomes and Santas are for next year. Don't forget to stick that down below if you want the drawing for the Vervaco patterns, which are adorable. They turned out so good. So much better than these pictures. Ugh. Whoever gets these, you look at the model stitcher and tell me, no. Yeah, that person was in a hurry. You could tell. They're just like, hurry up, get it done, get it done. I don't even think they did all the stitching the way they should have. But what do I know? Anyway, you all have a happy, happy new year. I'll see you on January 13th. And until then, keep on stitching.